Hold on, don't start before we start. Hey, welcome to the Midweek Howl, the non-paranormal part of the From the Shadows podcast. I got to get the intro in before you start. I mean, I know you had an exciting night. How did tennis go?
We won.
You won. So now your daughter's playing tennis. Is it the team that won or
Yeah,
her
both.
individually? Okay.
Well, yeah, they're playing conference districts. What's first?
Well, in Ohio, it's sectionals, districts, regional, state. So I don't know what.
Okay, she won last week, which means she had to play this week. She won tonight, which means she got to play tomorrow. So
is it the districts then?
It's either districts or districts or conference. I don't know, and I don't want to. The old hens are squawking up there, and I don't want to go up there and ask another question.
the old hens are squawking.
I
love that terminology. Is that so? There's other people up there celebrating the win.
Well, I don't know about celebrating the win, but certainly going over the world. I was talking to my new long lost cousin I met at the tennis match that they have kept me from, and first off, I built a giant retaining wall this weekend, and that segued into pouring a bunch of concrete today, which segued into my 15-year-old up there running a skid steer trying to move some debris around and make my yard better than when it started, which is almost impossible because it's so dry. So he just got out of football and couldn't wait to get football practice. Kate wouldn't get home and get in a skid steer to move some dirt. Thanks, Lake Ozark Rental, LOZ Rental, and Lance for hooking me up. So there's a lot of activity going on upstairs, right? And I just took my third shower of the day. Do what?
It sounds like you've had a busy day.
Yeah, and then I had you hounding me for this that we should have done last night. But I guess you were watching. What were you watching on the game last night? You couldn't do it last night.
I wasn't watching. I was on the fourth day of a 3-day movie shoot.
Oh,
yeah. So,
and you're still at day one.
That continued on till noon today.
What were you shooting? Apocalypse Now?
No, but it felt like it. We had some, so we had exteriors for the second of our 3 movies, Appleseed.
Yeah.
The one I talk.
Who's the director? Can you say?
Is Steve? Yeah, it's he's got 3 names.
No, don't say it because I'm going to badmouth directors in a second. And I don't want to be associated with it.
Well, this guy's a nice guy. Steven is his first name.
Nice guy. Is he? Does he understand? Does he understand time management and?
He does.
Okay.
He does.
So then why were y'all so far behind?
He does. Well, that's a good question. It is a very good question. There just seems to be a lot of things that come into play that you don't necessarily plan for. And when you're on a lower budget movie even though there's a lot of people running around, there's still certain people that should just be in charge of everything that's not making the movie, if that makes sense. Like Gary is producing this. My good friend Gary Jones is producing it, but he's also trying to make sure that lunch gets there on time, and so and so runs and gets ice, or do we have this that for this? You know what I'm saying? There's production people that should be there that their only job is they kind of sit up there in front of the laptop and make sure everybody's Airbnb is paid up, or they got they're good until Sunday night. You know what I'm saying? So it's quite a task. I mean, you just can't do everything. And then I helped the last couple of days because it was on our property. We were doing stuff. Started Thursday. There was a big scene in the field, and my stepdad was gracious enough to hook up a John Deere to a cultivator.
Yeah.
He had already plowed the field. So it was easy. They had taken the corn off, plowed the field. And so my stepdad is about 6'5", 6'6", big guy. Okay.
Yep.
The guy playing the character driving the truck is about 5'11" and 170 pounds.
And he's supposed to be the bad guy, the truck?
No, he's not a bad guy. But they wanted my stepdad to drive the tractor in the scene, and they wanted him to wear this guy's flannel shirt to drive the tractor. And my stepdad tried to couldn't even get it on his arm.
Why didn't they just to cut a scene so people later in the movie thinks that the kid was driving the tractor?
No, no. It's a crucial part of the movie.
Yeah,
So
but
anyway,
so why does your dad need to wear the same shirt as the guy?
because they want to show him plowing, and then it
Why didn't they
comes.
just put him in the tractor? What kind of John Deere are we talking? 6,500 big? What are we
No,
talking?
no. It's an older one. It's probably 60 years old. It's
Like,
really it's pretty I don't even know what
you
model it
could,
is.
your 5 minutes
I
couldn't have told this kid, showed this kid how to drive or
It
what?
wasn't a kid. It was a guy. It was a guy our age.
But I'm telling
And
you what, I got a good friend of mine put my oldest boy, 9 years old, in a 9610 side hill combine, and within 10 minutes he was driving it.
he did. So he finally just said, "Hey, look, let me just show him how to drive it." And
Oh,
so
okay, see, there
he
I am.
said, he said within 5-10 minutes, he got him to where he could do it. So
At least do the scene.
do the
Drive to
scene.
the end of the road and push
Yes,
the clutch in.
he could
Right?
do the scene. Yes,
Right.
and that's the same tractor they tried to teach me how to drive 30 years ago that I
Stop.
almost
Now
died
Ed's going to call
across.
me on Thursday and ask me if you were joking about not being able to drive this tractor.
I couldn't. This tractor is one where, if I remember right, okay, you can't just you shift it in the get in first, but then to get to second and then go to third, you have to like shift all the way back
I
to
don't know. It's
first.
one of them
So
goofy. It's like a
yeah,
30-20 or 44-40 with that goofy shifter in the middle where you gotta.
yes,
I don't remember
it's
what they were called.
I was barely schooled on just driving a truck and a car
Okay.
and a ship. And
Because
so
so
that's the tractor they sent me on that I couldn't get in the second gear. And it took me like an hour longer to get where I was supposed to
it's
go.
funny we're talking about old John Deere's. Ed told me and Ed was talking about it. Me and him. He was telling me a story. You don't know there was a big farms here not too far from where I grew up. His dad was the farm manager for Fabic Farms and had a bunch of 3 or 4 500-acre farms, but
Yeah.
not contiguous. You know how it works,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. And he was telling me that him and his brother, they hauled 2,000 square bales. Maybe it was just 1,000 round bales, not square, round bales with a single spike. And both of them had 44 40s, I think, or 40 20s, 40 20s. And because back in the late 70s, people just didn't have, these big giant bale trailers
Oh
and
yeah.
all
Yeah.
this material. You know what I mean? So you're like every day, all
So
summer,
they went,
you're
spiked the one
you're
bale and
spiking it
drove it.
one at a time and driving a mile up the road.
Oh God. That would
Can
take
you
forever.
imagine that?
That would take
So my
all
point was,
summer.
but you'd be good on a John Deere tractor. So maybe your stepdad should have put you, instead of roll crop, should have put you on the spike tractor and made you move 1,000 round bales.
I don't even know if we've made 1,000 round bales. But those guys roll around in the hayfield now like it's nobody's business, spiking.
Yeah.
But they,
These
putting it on a trailer.
bobcats and put them on
Yeah.
big trailers and hold 10. So anyway, go back to the movie.
So anyway, so we get through that day, and I'm working. So that Friday then is the day that me and Chris Hahn are shooting our big scene. Okay, and so I want to thank everybody that sent me suggestions on what I should use for fake chewing tobacco. Okay, but I went with I ordered this this beef jerky that came in the little cans, like it was a cans Copenhagen or whatever. And my mom suggested mixing it with raisins because when she was a kid,
Wow.
and my mom said when she was a kid, she would put raisins in her mouth and she could spit, and it made her feel like she was a farmer or whatever. So I mixed this concoction and it worked really, really well. But by the third can of me stuffing a big wad of raisins and beef jerky in my cheek and spitting, I had 6 cans. I'm like, oh my God, please don't let us go through 6 cans. So I only went through 3, but it was, I don't even know how people did it, but I mean, it worked. It did the job. It looked authentic. It gave me the opportunity to spit, which they wanted. So they actually let me and Chris have a lot of fun with this, and I don't know what they'll use as far as our banter back and forth in this scene. But they really liked the one take, which, wasn't quite as over the top, but so we'll see. It was fun. Then we got to play Dead. Had to lay there and play Dead, eyes open and stuff. So it was pretty cool. Chris, I mean, the scene's gonna be a really good scene. Chris gets killed in a really gruesome way. So, but anyway, the big finale of the movie was an event that we had one shot at and was supposed to happen Sunday or Saturday. We're supposed to be done Saturday. And I mean, I'm talking, I don't want to complain, but when you go on a movie, it's 12 hours just there. And when you're like hosting the thing, I had to get there early, get stuff set up, and then I got to clean up every night.
Did you do it over by the campground?
Yeah, we did it at the campground.
Why didn't you put your camper at the campground so you had a place to?
Because that wouldn't have helped. Because I wanted to get a good night's sleep, But Friday night after we did these scenes, my wife and Chris's wife and we wanted to go out to eat. Well, we had one of the big producers of the movie was in from Texas, and we took him out to eat. And then one of the stars, Matt, we all went out to eat, and then we went over to the haunted prison in the Mansfield Reformatory.
Yeah.
It is the number one haunted attraction in the state of Ohio. I don't know what would beat it. Even if you're not in the haunted houses, like I asked if we could come back when they weren't jumping out and trying to scare you to see. It take 45 minutes to walk through this place. And it takes 6 months from the time they start preparing for it, like drawing up what they're going to do, getting the stuff together, building sets, and then putting it in. It takes 6 months to put it, and then to take it all down and get it out of there. It is insane. We were walking down the one cell block, so we're on the bottom floor of the cell block, and you walk into this, and it's massive. Anyway, everybody's seen Shawshank and Escape from Death Block. They're just massive, and there's cars. It's supposed to look like a scene where all these cars wrecked, and there's dead people and ghosts and stuff. And there's
inside the prison,
full blown cars. And sitting there wrecked. And Chris and I are just amazed. Okay. There was an airplane scene. They had the front end of the cockpit of a jet in there where it had crashed. I mean, it was just insane. But the best is we're going through all this, and my wife and Chris's wife are scared. I'm not. People jumping out don't scare me at all, because I know they're not going to touch me and grab me or anything. So they're just people in masks. That'd be different if we were walking down the street in town and somebody jumped out that we're going to get probably punched in the mouth. But anyway, we go around the corner and this big guy jumps out. Chris, and he looks at him and goes, "Johnny Paradise. Hey, go on through."
Somebody recognized him?
Somebody recognized him in the dark.
What did he say?
He goes, "Hey, how's it going, man?" He didn't know who it was, but this guy recognized him, and the guy just ushered us right on through. So it was fun. The producer guy from Texas is a great dude. He works in the oil fields down there, and he's kind of a brilliant guy, like an engineer. And but he's got a big long beard, longer hair, and he was wearing a beanie and he had his sunglasses. I don't think he had them on as we were walking through, but he's almost a spitting image for Bill Gibbons from ZZ Top. And we went around the corner, and this girl was standing there scared, and I said, "Hey, you know who that is?" And she kind of goes, "Who?" And I go, "That's Billy Gibbons from ZZ Top." And she's like, "What? Like what?" But she
knew who it was.
She knew who it was, and it dawned on her because she had just jumped out to scare him, right? And he kept walking. And I go,
and he said, "How?" Hey, I seen a thing where he was in Denmark, I think. Have you seen the reel where he's in Denmark playing on a street corner? People like putting money in his box and shit.
No.
So he's got a little knit. He must be bald because he's always got a hat on. You know what I'm talking about?
Like a beanie or something.
Yeah, he's got this little like knit beanie like your grandma would make. And he's not dressed up, but he's not dressed down. He's just dressed like an old dude, right? With that big beard, and he's got a guitar, and he's got a little amp, like a little amp the size of a
like a little radio,
like a little basketball or so. You know what I mean? Just a little bitty thing. Yeah. And he's standing in a kind of a touristy old town section, cobblestone streets and shit, and he's just playing licks, and people are telling him, people are clapping and walking by and putting a little change in his case and stuff, and nobody, like, hey, man, I guess nobody must know who he was, right?
Like, hey buddy, you're really good. If you keep practicing, you'll be
right. So, I can only imagine, a guy like him, he can go over there and kind of check out because people don't know who he is, right?
I would imagine some places.
He can't go to Dallas and play like that on the corner, or Houston, or Minneapolis.
No, you wouldn't be able to go anywhere.
50 people would know who he was. He can't go to Mansfield.
No, even this girl thought that the guy that looked like him was him. You know what I'm saying? So
it might have been him. That's what I'm saying. Maybe he was there just to volunteer.
Well, and the fact is I don't think kids these days certainly would not even realize how great ZZ Top was and how big they were in the 70s.
Did you watch that documentary, little band from Texas, about ZZ Top?
I have not. How good is that?
Oh my gosh, it's on Netflix. I'm telling you what now.
Those
guys got together, I watched it last year. I watched it 3 times. I liked it so much.
Really?
Yeah, because you watch it and then they say stuff that you didn't maybe catch the first time or whatever. It was on and I caught part of it. So then I watched it, and then I went back to watch it a 3rd time because the best is the drummer. What's his name? Beard? Frank Beard, is that his name?
Frank, the guy without the beard.
Yes, his name's Beard.
Yeah, Frank Beard.
They talk about this big tour that they got, their really breakout tour in 70-something, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it was, something about the Great Texas or Heart of Texas or something. So they were talking about they brought longhorn cattle they just brought all these animals and stuff, and it was just off the hook, right? And as he's telling the story, they're cutting. You know how a documentary works. They're talking to him, and then they're intercutting different things. And he said, somewhere at the end of the tour, they gave me a check for, I think he said $59,000.
That's it.
And $59,000 in 76 when you could buy a brand new Silverado pickup for $3,000.
Okay.
Put it in perspective,
Okay.
Right. And you could tell they were about to cut it. You know how they were intercutting something, and then all of a sudden, are you still there? My computer just down. My screens went black. My screens are black.
I'm still here.
Somebody said something, and he goes, "What's that?" And it was like somebody in the back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you just tell on the set it must have been stopped. Oh, you want to ask what I did with it? Drugs, all of it. Because as he was telling just about how off the hook, the music.
Well, they did.
Well, they were drinking so much and different, just.
Yeah. Well, the interview I heard with them, they after that tour, I think it was after that tour, they all went their separate ways for a little while to they were due to make another record, but they all kind of went somewhere and kind of did drugs.
Right.
I think he went to the, the Bahamas or somewhere crazy.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. They started out as a blues band in Memphis or something. Now, speaking of watching stuff, so I get home. So, like I said, so the movie, we didn't get the big finale done Saturday night when we thought we were supposed to. So there's people the second camera guy was from Atlanta. He has to drive back to Atlanta when we're done. Everybody's got to go back, and it was only scheduled through Saturday. So they got to go back Saturday morning, which means I got to get up, drive across the county, open everything up, get it ready. And then like Sunday, I had to then drive to Cedar Point, coach 2 basketball games, come back home to Izzy's 18th birthday party, and then go back out to the campground. And it gets too dark. They don't get to do the big finale. So now, and I'm planning on like, I got to stay. I got to scrub the campground building from top to bottom, so it's fit for my parents to go back in. And now I got to and I'm thinking, man, I'm going to have Monday off. It's a federal holiday. And I got to go back out there today. And then the grand finale, which I'm not going to give away. Okay. I'll tell you off the air, and I'll even send you some video, but went off. It was really cool. I saw it from 5 different camera angles. Really cool. But still, I didn't get home till 2:00 today for making everything right. But it's just so much work. I had to go find fire extinguisher Saturday, get a wood chipper. I mean, just all kinds of
wood chipper.
Wood chipper. Oh yeah, wood chipper for the scene for me and Chris on Friday, and I mean, it's just all kinds of crazy stuff. And I had to get it back, and I mean, all kinds of stuff. But anyway, I get home, and I'm like, I wanted to, kind of relax a little bit. And when I fell asleep, but when I woke up, have you ever seen the movie The Birds by Alfred Hitchcock?
No.
Okay.
But I kind of know what it's about.
Okay. Well, I had never watched it either, because I kind of thought, man, this looks kind of cheesy. Is this really going to be scary in this day, or is this going to be kind of terrifying in this day and age? Does it, because you don't know horror and the special effects and stuff if it ages well. And I will tell you, here's a couple things about The Birds. Number one, it is kind of scary. The special effects, even for that time, I think it won an award because I started looking up and reading about it, were groundbreaking for that time. They were still really good today. But here's what I noticed. There was not a single note of music in that movie. So there was no, orchestra music setting the tone, setting the mood, helping create anything. Hitchcock, and I don't know if he did that because I'm not a huge Alfred Hitchcock junkie, but you were like sitting in the silence of the characters, and I'm going to tell you, it worked. I don't know. I mean, it had to obviously be something he did on purpose, but it made me rethink about some of these scary movies, we're kind of doing. Like, maybe that's, the silence is even worse than hearing some da-da-da, some of that stuff. So I don't know. I would tell you, I mean, it's on Netflix. I think you take an hour and a half and watch it and just enjoy it. It's very interesting.
I will. Hey,
Plus
so what's on your list? I know you said you had a list for me.
Well, okay. I had a couple news stories that I wanted to, because we got good response from some of those news stories we talked about last week. But
I don't even remember what we talked about last week.
I don't even remember. That's how bad it is. But here was a prime example of why you can't just read the headlines. Okay. Because I read this headline and I thought, oh my God, that's just stupid. Who has this kind of time? So here's a headline. Las Vegas man climbs the height of Mount Everest in his own home. Okay. So this man spent nearly 23 hours going up and down stairs in his home to break the Guinness Book of World Records for the fastest time to ascend and descend the height of Mount Everest on stairs. Okay. So at that point, I'm like, what a waste of time. Like, this is like, who cares? Okay. But he live streamed the event on YouTube. He did it. It took him 22 hours, 57 minutes and 2 seconds. Said he decided to break his record because nobody had done it before, not from sea level anyway. But here's the part where you don't stop at the title. I wanted to raise money for suicide prevention, so I figured I would combine these two goals into one major goal. We were nearing the end of COVID-19, and I was having a lot of mental problems and issues, which is why this charity is very close to my heart. So there you go. He added in some of his own rules. He could never touch the banister because, while you're climbing Mount Everest, there's no banister. But I wonder if he had a Sherpa with him to help.
I was just wondering, was he suicidal before he tried to climb all them stairs, or was that a byproduct of it?
No, it's not like he was suicidal before, and then, but I'm like, holy smokes. So what turned out to be something that looked kind of silly was actually, oh God, here's another one. I didn't even read this. Idaho man dribbles basketball blindfolded to earn world record. What is this, the world record? But here is a story that I thought you might enjoy and might have a good story on. So a crash on a California
Venezuelan gangs taking over.
No. We're not.
Okay.
No, we're not talking about that. A crash on the California highway caused an hours-long traffic jam. This is their
yam
attempt at a pun.
What was it? A bunch of meat truck or something?
When the vehicles lost its load of sweet potatoes in the road.
Wrong vegetable. Wrong vegetable.
Wrong vegetable. So that led me, as soon as I saw it, I thought, man, what was the craziest thing you ever came up on in your days?
Let me tell you what made me think it's something. And I think I've mentioned this before. It was the mess was being cleaned up as I came on duty that afternoon. But the next day in the newspaper, I got to see a dude I worked with his trooper hat on, because back in them days we had to wear a hat, standing straddle-legged over a big old Hampshire hog whose back was broken. So this hog is up on his front feet, but his back hind's down. And he's got those big old ears flipped out. You know how a big old Hampshire would look. Yeah. And he's standing there with that Glock pistol pointing, and it said "mercy killing" in the headline. It said "mercy killing," and it was a pot load. Now, can you imagine a pot? The hogs turn over, and the roof came off of it. So, however many pigs a pot would hold.
Wait a second, a pot? What is a pot?
An 18-wheeler, a pot, a big cattle hauler, big double-decker. That's on you so bad. A double-decker cattle truck.
I've never heard it called a pot.
Anyhow, what do y'all call them out there?
Just a trailer.
You got pots. Pots haul chickens and hogs and cattle.
Look,
and turkey trucks haul chickens and turkeys.
All I know is a pot is what they pull up in the North Atlantic when they're fishing for
that too.
Okay.
Semantics matter. Dude, work on it's not just your vocabulary, it's where they're applicable.
Oh, jeez.
See, that's, you know what? Never mind. I'm not going to say it.
No, go ahead. Say it. Come on.
Nope, I'm not going to say it.
Are you saying I spent too much time around Chris Hahn those last couple of days?
No, I'd say Chris Hahn knew exactly what I'd talk about. He's a working man. He's blue collar. He's a working man.
Right.
Right.
So
however many
pot. So this pot of hogs dumps over, and
the cripples got left behind to be mercy killed, where the fleet at foot got to run off. So
then they become wild hogs, right?
I guess. I mean, unless they get caught by the next people. Now, I had a classmate of mine shoot a horse on I-44, and that caused enough uproar to I mean, back in them days, I mean, this is a fact.
Well, what people don't understand
he shot 2 people and didn't get near the grief he got for shooting that one horse.
Well, what people don't understand, though, people that have animals, that have cats and dogs and stuff like that, love all animals, but they don't understand when you have some of these other animals, when they are injured, there's no other way to. I mean,
this one wasn't injured quite. It was partially injured, but it was enough that it got across both lanes of I-44 and then come back across. And there was 2 accidents by people
trying to.
It was like in the westbound lane originally. So as it's over there running amok, people in the eastbound lane crashed trying to watch it. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. So
then it ran back across, ended up in the westbound lane, and somebody in the eastbound lane crashed, jacking around with it. So as this horse is running, so then it started running down the median, so it ran away from the original accident site. So now people are more people are jamming on the, more people are introduced to this thing. And finally, he just made the decision that he just needed to shoot this horse, and he did. And oh my God, like I said, he shot two people on 2 different occasions. Didn't get near the grief for shooting them, but shooting a horse, that people wanted to hang him.
Well, this last story then that I'm going to talk about, because it kind of ties in. No, I mean, our listeners understand, here's the story. Dozens of hungry raccoons take over Washington woman's property.
I saw that. I saw that. And, I don't know. First of all, I think I've told my FBI raccoon story. And second of all,
I don't think I've heard the FBI raccoon.
Oh, dude, I've told this story so many times, I don't even remember which version to tell.
I don't know. But this lady has hundreds of raccoons.
You know what? And what do you think's going to happen? We're not ready to stop yet. I'm going to tell you my coon story.
Right.
Raccoon story. I got some coon pictures on my phone. I moved down here to Lake Ozark, and I got pictures of game cam, 5-6 coons on my deck at night at one time, trying to get into my dog food.
Oh yeah, yeah.
There were so many coons on my porch. My big 110-pound lab got scared of them, and he would shelter in place.
Of raccoons? How big are these raccoons?
It's just how many people. It's like Chinamen. When there's 1 million of them coming at you, it don't matter how little they are.
God. Okay, tell the story before we do get canceled for that.
So we were doing a GPS install. The short version is, so we're doing a GPS install on a suspect's vehicle. Okay. And it's parked. And what we're going to do is we're going to sit in every direction from inner city, every direction, and basically tell these tech guys when the coast is clear. You with me?
Okay.
And you're doing it. You're sitting there from like midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning until 2 or 3, because every once in a while a transient or somebody's showing up. Does that make sense? And you got to wait. Mm-hmm. So they got on the box and says, how's it look, or how's it, anything, you see anything on the, and my partner said, no, nothing. It came to me. I was on the west side or whichever side of the vehicle. And I said, just 4 coons in a garbage can, in a dumpster. I said 4 coons in a dumpster. I think is what I said. I said it. 4 coons in a dumpster. And the girl on the north side, Big Lib, and I know I shouldn't say that word, but Big Lib got on the radio and said, you can't talk like this on this radio. And I said, like what? And she said, you can't use that term. And I said, what term? And now to remind you, now we're getting an argument, and it's freaking live. Right? So,
oh my God.
What term? And I said, would you rather me see? I don't know the genus species of them, but, Octavius raccoonus, or what do you want me to call them? And she goes, oh, you mean the animal? And I said, yes. And she said, oh, I thought you were being racist. And I said, dude, there's only one racist on this radio, and it ain't me.
Oh, God.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the From the Shadows podcast. Until next time, never shy away from the darkness or what may be lurking in the shadows. We are out. God only knows.